first pick in the 2018 NBA 2K League Draft, Mavs Gaming selects Artreo Boyd, a.k.a. Dimes, from Cleveland, Ohio.
What's up, YouTube? As most of you guys know, the NBA 2K League Draft just concluded a few days ago. I am SlayIsland, and in this video, I will give my preseason power rankings and draft grades for all 17 teams in the NBA 2K League. Let's get right to it. As most of you guys predicted, my number one ranked team is Cavs Gaming. In the first round of the draft, the Cavs selected Hood is Glitchy at point guard. Hood was my number 4 ranked player on my big board and could easily be argued as the biggest steal of the first round. Not only did they get a great point guard, they also got the best center in the game in the second round. And he goes by the name Sick. But the Cavs' excellent draft doesn't stop there. In the third round, they got a big steal at small forward in God of 2K, who was my number 5 ranked small forward. In the fourth round, they got a knockdown shooter in Eyeball Toxic, and in the fifth round, they got a great defensive power forward and turn-up defense. On paper, this Cavs team is clearly the best team in the league, but a lot of these guys have very big egos, and that could be their downfall. Hood is also a very hot and cold point guard. When he's hot, he's the best player in the world. When he's cold, he's really bad. Overall, I give the Cavs an A+ for their draft. The number 2 ranked team on my power rankings is Celtics Gaming. With the second pick in the draft, Celtics Gaming got arguably the best player in the world in Fab. With their second and third pick, the Celtics got Arsenal and Melo East, who have been teammates with Fab for many years. Arsenal is a very dominant center who has potential to be the best center in the league. Arsenal's problem has always been his work ethic, but with the structure of being on an NBA team, his potential is very high. In the fourth round, the Celtics grabbed one of the best shooters in the draft in Fusion. Overall, the Celtics have a very strong core, and I expect them to be a competitive team all throughout the first season of the NBA 2K League. The only question with this team is how Fab is going to perform in person. A lot of people at the draft were worried that Fab would not be the same after the catfishing news broke. Overall, I give this team an A, and I applaud Rico on having a stellar draft. The third ranked team on my power rankings is Pistons GT. I was very surprised with the Pistons draft. Everyone knew they were getting Ramo with the 5th pick, but their late round picks were excellent. Ramo is clearly the best power forward in the world, and getting Insanity late in the second round was a huge steal for them. Insanity brings great leadership and great defense. Somehow they managed to land I'm So Far Ahead and Nene in the 4th and 5th round. Both of those guys are great players who will bring a lot to this Pistons team. Splash King is a question mark, but he had the best shooting guard stats in the whole combine, so I wouldn't doubt his skill either. Overall, this team has great players 1 through 5. And those are the reasons I'm giving the Pistons an A on their draft. Next up, we have the number 4 ranked team, and that would be Heat Check Gaming. With their first pick, they got my number 2 ranked center and the number 9 overall player on my draft board in Hotshot. And with their second pick, they got my number 10 ranked player on my big board, Majestic. This gives Miami one of the best point guard center duos in the entire league. In the third round, they got a great offensive power forward and 24K drop off, and in the fourth round, a good scorer and sharpshooter Los. There's 2 question marks with this team. 1, will Majestic become a dominant point guard after sitting behind Fab for so long? And 2, what will Famous Enough do? Famous is known for running crazy offenses with 2 post scorers and crazy arc. I'm very curious to see if Famous Enough will be a successful coach in the league. Overall, Miami had a very solid draft, and I give them a grade of an A-. Next up, we have the number 5 ranked team on my power rankings, and that would be the Raptors Uprising. With their first pick, the Raptors selected Kenny. Kenny is an amazing 2K player and one of the best defenders in the world. The question mark with Kenny is, will he be able to perform at point guard? Later in the draft, they got 2 of Kenny's former teammates in Detoxies and All Hail Trey, and also a very underrated center in Kobe Youssef. Overall, I expect this team to have great chemistry and great defense, but the big question mark is, will Kenny perform at point guard? Overall, I give the Raptors grade a A-. The 6th ranked team on my power rankings is Blazer 5 Gaming. With their first round pick, they drafted my number 3 ranked center in One Wild Walnut, and in the second round, they paired him up with the point guard he's always wanted to play with, Mama I'm That Man. These 2 guys already have great chemistry, and this is going to be a great point guard center duo for the Blazers. However, in my opinion, this isn't the best duo on the Blazers. The duo of Dat Boy Shots and One Wild Walnut gives them the best front court in all of the 2K League. Shots was my number 3 ranked power forward, and Walnut, like I said, was my number 3 ranked center. Nobody knows too much about Grant Monster and Lavish Phenom, but rumor on the street is they're really good players. I give the Blazers a grade of a B+. The number 7 ranked team on my power rankings is Jazz Gaming. With the Jazz's first pick, they selected Yeah I Compete, who was my number 2 ranked player on my big board. Compete is a great two-way point guard who is going to bring great leadership to this Jazz team. Later in the draft, they paired Compete up with 2 great defensive players in Tiffy World and Deeds. The Jazz clearly reached on Mr. Slaughter 01 in the second round, however their later picks made up for it. I expect the Jazz to have great defense, and if Compete can carry this offense like I know he can, expect this team to be a championship contender. And for these reasons, I gave the Jazz Gaming a grade of a B. The number 8 ranked team on my power rankings is Pacer Gaming. The Pacers had a very defense-heavy draft, and that showed when they selected Wolf with their first overall pick. Wolf is considered by many to be the best lockdown defender in all of 2K. Later in the draft, they paired Wolf up with his teammate Swizzert, who was one of the best 3-and-D players in the world. And then in the third round, got Jordan Lockstup, who was a very underrated defensive center. Frosty the Truth also has a lot of potential to become a great player in the league. He was a former pro Halo player who just recently started playing 2K. And now we get to the biggest question mark of the draft, and that's Gunnar. I've heard people call Gunnar the most skilled player in the world. However, since he's from Europe, he's never had a chance to play against American talent. At the end of the season, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a top 5 point guard, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he's a bottom 5 point guard. Overall, I gave the Pacers a solid grade of a B. The number 9 ranked team on my power rankings is Wizard District Gaming. With their first pick, they got a point guard who I'm not a huge fan of, and that's Fresh Prince JT. JT is a great defensive point guard, but his offense has been very inconsistent at times, and he has always played with some of the best big men in the world. The thing I really like about the Wizards draft is the players they put around JT. Shump and JT have chemistry in the past, and he's a great power forward. Jin Sanity is a very capable scoring small forward, and Reese is probably the best shooter in the whole draft. The center position is a clear weakness for the Wizards. Gilly is probably one of the worst starting centers in the entire league, and I expect this team to have trouble when facing a dominant big man like Hotshot. Overall, I was very impressed with the Wizards draft and gave them a grade of a B. The 10th ranked team on my power rankings is Kings Guard Gaming. With the 4th pick in the first round, the Kings selected Moody. Moody is a good power forward, but drafting him at number 4 overall was probably the biggest reach in the whole draft. With their 2nd and 3rd round pick, they got 2 more big name players in Worthing Colt and Timely Cook. Both of these guys are great defenders, but struggle offensively at times. Timely doesn't have much experience playing point guard, however, he's a top 10 talent in the world. Sophia Foria and Cowboy Colazo are very unknown players, and nobody knows how they're going to perform in the league. I expect this team to have great defense, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're one of the worst offensive teams in the league. And due to those reasons, I give the Kings Guard a draft grade of a B-. The 11th team on my power rankings is Mavs Gaming. The Mavs had the first pick in the draft and selected Dimes. After selecting Dimes with the first pick, the Mavs decided to go for role players with their later picks. They got great shooters who are going to be able to space the floor and give Dimes the room to work that he needs. Dave Fry is a very good power forward, and JLB is one of the best shooting centers in the league. My concern with this team is defense. Dimes is known as a below average defender, and JLB could struggle defending the paint at times. I expect Dimes to average 30 to 35 points this year and be in consideration for the MVP. However, I don't think that's going to be enough for this team to make the playoffs the first season, and those are the reasons why I gave the Mavs a B-. The number 12 ranked team on my power rankings is Bucks Gaming. With their first pick, the Bucks selected Drake Griffin. I think Drake at the number 10 spot was a little bit of a reach due to him not being the most versatile point guard. Drake is originally a shooting guard, and that's a position that fits his skill set a lot better. With their later picks, they drafted Larry, Precision, STL2LA, and King Peroxide. All these guys are very good 3-point shooters. With shooters all around the floor, the Bucks could have one of the most explosive offenses in the entire league. However, they don't have a strong inside presence like a lot of these teams do, and I don't think any of these guys are able to take over a game at will. Overall, the Bucks had a decent draft, and I give them a grade of a B-. Next up is the number 13 ranked team on my power rankings, and that is Knicks Gaming. With their first 2 picks, they selected Goofy and Nate Call. Goofy was the number 2 ranked power forward on my board, and Nate was the number 2 ranked small forward. This gives the Knicks the best power forward small forward duo in the entire league. However, the rest of this team isn't the greatest. With their 4th round pick, they selected I Am Adam I, aka Kid Kuda, to be their starting point guard. Yay Not Gaming and Idris the GOAT are also big question marks for this team. Neither of these guys have a lot of comp experience, so they're going to have to prove why they belong in the league. Overall, the Knicks front court is very solid. However, 2K has always been a guards game, and I Am Adam I is my 16th ranked starting point guard. I don't expect the Knicks to be too successful the first season, but they could surprise me. Overall, I gave the Knicks a grade of a C+, due to the fact that they got 2 top 20 players in Goofy and Nate. The number 14 ranked team on my power rankings is Warriors Gaming. Warriors Gaming confused a lot of people when they selected Sean Wynn and Beast Move J with their first 2 picks. However, they got the biggest steal in the draft with ProMeister in the 5th round. These 3 guys give the Warriors one of the best 1-3 combo in the entire league. However, I don't have too much faith in their front court. LeVert is naturally a shooting guard and doesn't have a lot of experience playing power forward. And type is a big question mark. Pro is a great player, and I wouldn't be surprised if this team quickly shoots up the power ranking. Overall, I gave the Warriors a grade of a C+. The 15th ranked team on my power rankings is the 76ers. The 76ers drafted Radiant and Nudini with their first 2 picks. Both of these guys are great scoring guards, but they struggle defensively at times. Steez is a very smart defender, and iFeast showed a lot of potential in the pack scrimmage games. I expect this team to struggle defensively at times, but they could have one of the most explosive offenses in the league. T-Fresh is also a weakness at center. He is a very unknown player, and they could struggle against dominant big men. I gave the 76ers a draft grade of a C. The 16th spot on my power rankings goes to Grizz Gaming. With their first pick, the Grizz selected Winners Stays On. Winners is a point guard with 0 comp experience. Drafting a point guard who hasn't proven himself against the best players in the world in the first round is crazy to me. However, this team does have a couple pros. Authentic African is a good center, and he has a lot of chemistry with Universal Phenom, who he's played with for over 5 years. This team is also full of great guys. Winner Stays On and UH Threat had some of the best interview scores in the league. Overall, I gave the Grizz a grade of a D. I'd be very surprised if they are a competitive team this year. The last and 17th ranked team on my power rankings is the Magic. With their first pick, everyone expected the Magic to take Hood is Glitchy. However, they reached and decided to take Control instead. And this was the first of many reaches for the Magic. In the 2nd round, they reached on UC Manny, and in the 4th round, they reached on Nacho Trainer. Supreme Polar was a decent pick in the 3rd round, and Control is also a decent point guard. However, all around, I think this team has the least amount of talent in the league. And these are the reasons why I gave the Magic's draft an F. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more 2K League analysis, make sure you subscribe and like the video. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Twitch. All the links will be in the description. Thanks for watching and have a good night.